Shalom and good day all. This is the Healing29 back again for some DC and indie reviews. As you can see here, I'll be covering two titles in this. First will be the Action Comics, issue 1092, and then we have the VR Troopers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ninja Rangers Flipbook. I'll now get things ready and organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So starting off with first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In some essence it does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, the middle and of course the end. So as the story begins, we are following Clark Kent Superboy, as he's taking place in some of the events that are happening around the world in the DC universe. And as we get to see here, he's going out of his way to save people in trouble. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we have Clark Kent catching up with one of his mates by the name of Pete, like Peter Parker, for example. Then not long after that, we have General Lane turning up to Smallville. And as we move to the epilogue, we have a bit of a device that is calling for Superboy for some help. For the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal story, to which it will be rated on references, time, location, and cast. So starting off with comic book references, did we get any? No, we didn't. Though it does not hurt to include them. It might actually increase the score. Next is the time, to which we learned that this takes place many years ago, so we're learning that this is taking place in the past. The locations within the story are Smallville, Indonesia, Central City. We also had Metropolis for Pitt, and there was it Vietnam, Indonesia, and somewhere else. My bad writing once again, which I can't even read. Or I can read some of it, but not all of it. I like to use written text or typed text. Next is the cast of characters. We had Mr. McElroy, Clark Kent Superman, Maren Park Kent. We also had Pete and also General Lane. My overall story rating for this is a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the indie comic to be reviewed. So as we start to move into the area of this indie comic, for the first cover in relation to this flip book, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In essence, it does, because we learn of a character by the name of Ultra Darius, which will actually make an appearance. Next is the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. So as we start to move into the area of the beginning of the story, we see what some of the VR troopers are doing in the background, but also some of the events that are taking place in the public spotlight. Of course, there is a bit of a discussion of something called the Ultra Darius, or someone called the Ultra Darius, until, of course, Grimlord decides to send in his henchmen, and we get a bit of an event take place, until, of course, a real Ultra Darius turns up. How will the story continue in the next issue? I don't know yet. For the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10, as I quite enjoyed it for this story. Next is the area of the story rating. First things first, did we get anything time-wise? We did. In fact, we had shortly. Next is the location. Didn't indicate where the hell we were. Because of that, lack of points. Oh, losers points. Next is the cast of characters, consisting of Ryan Still, J.B. Reese, and Caitlin Scott. We also had Dr. Boynton, Ultra Darius, and also Grimlord within the story. The overall rating for this story is a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to flip the book over and move into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers story. So, first things first, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? It certainly does, because we, in a way, have the Power Rangers up against the Power Rangers. Or Power Rangers versus Ninja Rangers. And that's why it gets a 7 out of 10. Now, it's time to move into the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So, as the story begins, we see some things happening in, I think it's in the Grove, Angel Grove. And, of course, we get to see Zordon speaking to Alpha. Until, of course, we get some appearance of some Zords. Oh, plus Rangers again. And as the story continues, we get a bit of a fight between different Zords. But what's the thing that's caused this? Well, we do know that Zed and Rita have returned in this story. So how do they play a big part within it? For the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the story racing. First things first, did we get anything time-wise? No, we didn't. Next is the location. I think some of it was meant to be Angel Grove. As for the rest of it, I got no idea where the hell it was. Next was the cast of characters. Of course, we had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers plus the Ninjas. We also had Zordon, Alpha, Zed, and Rita. For my overall rating for this, I give a 7 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.